questions on the first page? Okay, well, if you think of them, you can ask them at any time. Remember that anytime something important happens in the original song, they're going to do the same thing in your piece of music. So for example, when you write your motive A with this rhythm but your own intervals, it's going to be repeated exactly here. Or it's going to be transformed, which we can talk about more in a moment. Here, there's going to be a repeated note. Here, there's going to be a repeated note. Here, there's going to be a repeated note. That's measures 3, 4, and 5. Measures 5 and 6 comprise your motive B, inside which lives your motive A. That whole thing is repeated in measures 7 and 8, or transformed. Repeated note in measure 9, highest note is the third note of measure 9, lowest note is the last note. Any place that something is repeated in Silent Night, you have the option, if you want to go the easy way, to just repeat it in your piece, or you have the option to transform it if you want to do something a little more challenging. And that's on page 2. Letter D. You might remember I chose major third and perfect fourth for my 2 intervals. When we turn those upside down, we also get minor sixth and perfect fifth. So I have those 4 intervals to work with. Your first option for motive A is to repeat it exactly. You can turn it upside down by keeping the intervals the same but reversing the direction. Choose an interval to link the 2 motives. So in number 2, what I've done is I have my original motive A, go down by a perfect fourth, turn all the intervals upside down. Number 3, you can do it backwards. That's called retrograde. In this case, this is one of the cases you're allowed to repeat a note that isn't repeated in the original song. You can turn it upside down and write it backwards. That's number 4. You'll notice that the intervals are backwards. Major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth. Perfect fifth, perfect fourth, major third. And also that the directions are changed. So up, down, up becomes down, up, down. Right? That's the most complicated one. That's for advanced users only. I go up a minor sixth. Oh, sorry. Let's give it another try. I want to point out one thing here in number 4. I have an A flat to an F flat. That is a major third. That's one of my intervals. Now, if I go on strictly using my same intervals, like strictly writing major thirds, minor sixths, perfect fourths, perfect fifths, I might end up in this sort of quagmire of double and triple accidentals. So you may, at any point where it's necessary, flip the enharmonic spelling. So depending on where I go after this, it might be to my benefit to write this F flat as an E. And that would make my major third a diminished fourth. That's okay. That's okay. Otherwise, you're going to end up with double sharps, triple sharps, double flats, triple flats. You don't want that. Okay? Label any transformation you use, unless it's an exact repeat. Okay over there? Okay. Unless it's an exact repeat. If you repeat it exactly, I'll know what you're doing. And I'll know that you know what you're doing. But if you use an inversion, a retrograde, or a retrograde inversion, or by the way, you can transpose it. You can just knock it up a few, or down a few steps. You can transpose it as well. If you're doing any of those things, mark it, please. So I know that you know what you're doing. Bless you. So I think we're on letter E. Don't use a repeated note unless it actually happens in the original song. Bless you again. Or if you're using an exact retrograde, then you'll need to repeat a note. I think we've been through all that. Any questions on page 2? All right. Page 3, I want to talk about the bonus option, and I'm going to also talk about something that is on your sheet that I'm going to scrap. Now, for the online people, hi. For the online people, I want to say hello, and I hope it's been a good semester for you. But also that the sheet you have that you've printed from Blackboard is the correct one. So I'm about to say only applies to the people whose bodies are in the room right now. On the back of yours, it probably says something about you've got to put it on Blackboard and you've got to put it up, and I'm going to put you in groups of 3 and you're going to critique each other's compositions. I'm realizing there's not really a whole lot of time left to do that. So I'm going to scrap the whole critiquing thing. Okay, so let me see your sheet for a second. Number 8 and number 9. Number 8 and number 9 you can scratch off under letter F. Okay? Again, that's for the face-to-face people only. So let me make this larger up here on the screen, and you can kind of see what the new requirements are. You can also get them on Blackboard. You're actually doing less than I had originally planned. Lucky you. So for a 5-point bonus, enter your composition into this new software called NoteFlight. And I'll give you a brief explanation of how NoteFlight works. It's pretty easy. Then, the other part that you have to do for the 5-point bonus is I want you to have, want you to come up with a few sentences, 1 or 2 paragraphs at the most, about your experience using NoteFlight. What did you think of it? Was it user-friendly? Is it better or worse than MuseScore? What things do you like about it? What things do you not like about it? Because I'm thinking of converting everything over to NoteFlight from MuseScore for next year. And I kind of want to get a sense of how it compares. So you'll help me actually make this decision. And NoteFlight might get rid of the necessity for Google Docs, and I know that, well, it won't affect you at all, but you might be thrilled for future generations. Post your comments to the NoteFlight course blog. Right? There are no anonymous posts on the blog, just so you know. Whatever you say, it'll be associated with your name. So you have to do all of that. You have to use NoteFlight, you have to critique it, and you have to put it on the blog so that we know what you think about it to get your 5-point bonus. All right? Monday, December 5th, this coming Monday, it is due for checking. And what I want you all to do, face-to-face people whose bodies are in the classroom right now, I want you to bring me a printed copy. So if you do it on NoteFlight, if you do it on MuseScore, whatever, I want you to bring me a printed copy. At that point, you can even bring me a handwritten copy, but I want the final thing to be done on the computer. And what this is for is, instead of class on Monday, we're going to have a consultation hour, where you basically give me your piece, I play through it, I say, okay, yeah, this looks good, or you need to fix this and this and this and this. Okay, next. And that gives you a chance to really, every opportunity to really do well on this. Okay. Online people, hi. What I want you to do is upload it to Blackboard for checking by Monday the 5th, and Brian will check all your intervals and make sure everything is in compliance with the project requirements. Get it back to you right away. He doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to tell him. Get it back to you right away, and then so you can fix it by the due date, which is Wednesday at 10 a.m. You can get that out. Wednesday, December 7th, 10 a.m. The whole thing is due. Upload it to Blackboard, please. Remember that you must label all your intervals. You can do letter A. You can label it in NoteFlight. Letter B, you can label it in MuseScore. Or letter C, you can print it out and label the intervals in pencil. Whichever one of those you do, you still need to upload it to Blackboard, because I want to be able to hear it. I want to be able to hear the finished product. So if you do it in NoteFlight or MuseScore, I will be able to hear it. So I don't want you to PDF it. Okay? I suppose I could always play it on the piano, but I don't want you to PDF it. I want to hear it. Sir?
Oh, okay. So it don't matter if we use NoteFlight or MuseScore, we could send either one to upload it to Blackboard.
Yeah, and actually with NoteFlight, which I'll show you in just a second, it will be a link that you send, because NoteFlight lives on the internet. It's not a separate piece of software. It's cloud-based. All right, here's what I'm grading on. Do you do it on time? Do you follow the instructions? And then within the given limitations, does it sound like a cool piece? Are you creative within the limitations? So there's a little bit of subjectivity there, but not much. This composition is worth 10% of the course grade. It's kind of like half a test. Any questions on all that stuff? Okay. I'm going to show you note flight real quick. Oh no, I'm not going to do that. I want to show you a sample project. Keep rolling. Divide it up later if you need to. And of course, I forgot to bring the handouts, but I can give you these next time. This is a sample project written by a student named Rufus J. And it basically, we have it in 2 versions. And I don't know if you seem to be getting that, so I'll just tell you Rufus J is a pseudonym for somebody. We have 2 versions. One version uses only exact repeats in the places that you're supposed to use exact repeats. The other version uses some transformations instead. All right? So in version 1, we have this. Again, using only major thirds, minor sixths, perfect fourths, and perfect fifths, with a couple exceptions. So going from measure 1 to measure 2, I have an exact repeat, which necessitates me having an augmented fourth from D to A flat. That's not one of my legitimate intervals. But there it is. Because I'm doing an exact repeat, it needs to be there, and that's fine. That's one of the places where you can make an exception. Moving on to measure 3. Exact repeat, so I need to use an exceptional interval, a minor third, going into measure 7. Here comes my highest note in measure 9. And my lowest note at the end. Make sense? Can you dance to it? Not really. But it's kind of a cool piece. So Noisy Night number 2 uses transformations instead of repeats. So I'm going to have my mode of A in measure 1, and then I'm going to have an inversion of that in measure 2. So it sounds like this. Intervals upside down. Going on. Here's my mode of B. Now I'm going to retrograde that. Same rhythm, but all the pitches backwards. So, 2 ideas for things you can do. Question about Rufus J's compositions here. Rufus J writes all my sightseeing melodies too. He's a good guy, that Rufus. Okay, great. Let me give you a quick primer on note flight, and then we're going to go back to triads. We have to finish the triad movie today. We can stop rolling.